Good evening, Professor.
Very good evening, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
After 3 days, எனக்கு ஒயிட் ரைஸ் கடல பாக்குறதுக்கு அப்படியே ஆனந்தமா இருக்கு. மட்டன் தாலியில என்னென்ன இருக்குன்னு சொல்றேன். இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அவங்களோட மட்டன் குழம்பு
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Star International Foundation for Research and Education and Tamil Nadu, we welcome you all for the day 5 of 5 days online workshop on SPSS in research. For the last 4 days, so many participants are actively participated, and we are sorry to say that only limited person only participated in Zoom meeting. Rest of the members can participated YouTube live. In next program onwards, we try to accept entire members in Zoom meeting. Now the session was handed over to today's resource person. Kumaresan
Very
sir.
good evening. Very good evening, sir. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening, dear friends. Today, the last and final day of this batch. So actually, in the previous batch, we discussed about parametric tests and non-parametric tests. And this session is about mainly ANOVA, MANOVA, ANCOVA, and MANCOVA. Additionally, the cluster analysis has been included. Usually, we designed the module like this cluster analysis and discriminant analysis separately for a special batch, I mean separate batch. But this is a 5 days program now. So the last day has been specifically given for cluster analysis. So far we have discussed about several tests, and as Dr. Sekhar sir said, we have very, very valuable feedback and active participation from the participants. You're all very interactive. Your feedback is a great encouragement and motivation for us. We are doing this service mainly to encourage the research supervisors as well as the research scholars. Many faculty members approached to conduct this kind of program. This is conducted online, and if you are particular about conducting any FDP or workshop as offline program, in that case also our team is ready to visit your institution and conduct the offline program, on-stage program. So if you are interested, you can contact Dr. Sekhar sir or myself. We will come and conduct the program according to your schedule. Today, somebody has navigated the whiteboard. Who is that? Please, you can close the whiteboard. Right. Thank you very much. Cluster analysis. It is entirely different from other tools so far we have discussed. In what way it is different? In the previous tools or tests we have discussed, dependent variable is scale data, is given in scale data. Independent variables, ordinal or nominal. This is just opposite. Independent variables are given in scale data. dependent variable is given in ordinal data. From the 4 days discussion, we have got wonderful feedback from two senior most professors in this gathering. Professor Dr. Manavalan Ilakonar sir, he has highly appreciated the program. And another senior professor, Dr. M. Kannan, he is also from Madurai. He has drafted one table containing the different tests we have discussed so far. What is the test? How many independent variables are there? How many covariate variables are there? How many dependent variables are there? Whether it is categorical variable or scale data. Like that, he has excellently prepared a chart, and he is very particular about, or he is very concerned about sharing his knowledge and expertise with our participants. He has asked, see, he has prepared excellent table, very senior most person next to Dr. Manavalan sir. He asked us if it is okay, you can share with the participants. Or you can add or delete something. Usually, if somebody is creating something and another is willing to edit, the creator will not accept. But Dr. Kannan sir is very kind enough and said, you can edit according to your own convenience and share it. Excuse me. Dear friends, I'm very sorry. Usually I don't attend any call, but my sister is undergoing a surgery in hospital. That's why I had to attend. Thank you very much for bearing the inconvenience caused in this regard. So Dr. Kannan sir has given the table and asked, you can edit according to your convenience and share it like that. Dr. Manavalan sir, I have to say, a lot of similarities between myself and Manavalan sir. Both are hailing from Erode. Both are having a lot of affection towards our mother tongue, Tamil. A lot of similarities on relationship between me and Dr. Manavalan sir. I thank both the senior most professors, your valuable support and feedback. And some other participants also have sent the feedback to my personal WhatsApp number. Dr. Sureka madam from KPR College, Dr. Vishnu Vardhini madam from Vellalar College. They have also sent me the valuable feedback. I thank all the participants for your valuable feedback and support. Okay. So let me share the table given by Dr. Kannan sir after the discussion is over. Thank you. So here, as I told you, cluster analysis. See, in the previous cases, the independent variable is a categorical variable. We have some predetermined categories. For example, gender is categorized as male and female. Specialization is categorized as finance, marketing, and HR. So it is predetermined. While drafting the questionnaire itself, we have classified, we have divided the variable into 2 or 3 categories like that. But here, it is entirely different. If we collect the data for the independent variable as a scale data, how, sir? How can we collect? Age group we collected no earlier. It is up to 20, 22, 40, 42, 60, above 60. It is categorical. We have categorized the age groups. But if we collect the actual age directly, like 43, 54, 23, 28, 36, that is called scale data. Similarly, experience, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. Professor Dr. Manavalan sir, 40 years. Kannan sir, 40 years. We are really privileged to have these senior most professors. So age and experience are collected as scale data instead of a categorical data. On the other hand, the dependent variable is collected as ordinal data, or in Likert scale. Likert scale is also ordinal data. Do you agree with this? We are asking no. We are collecting the attitude, behavior, perception in the form of Likert scale, 5-point Likert scale. We are giving certain statements and ask the respondents to give their responses like strongly agree. If a statement is given, then only we have to give the options like strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree, like that. And we are assigning scores like 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sometimes highly satisfied, satisfied, neutral, dissatisfied, highly dissatisfied. So it is called Likert scale. Some statements are given, statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, statement 4, statement 5, like that. Okay. If some statements are given and the data are collected through Likert form, Likert scale, that is said to be ordinal data. Okay. In all the previous tests we have so far discussed there, what is mandatory? The dependent variable should be scale data. Independent variable is categorical data. It is just opposite here. Independent variable is scale data. Dependent variable is categorical data. That's all. If it is so, then we have to apply this cluster analysis. What is cluster? Cluster means a group. Cluster means a group. Earlier, we had predefined grouping or categories. Like male is one group, female is another group. Married and single are different groups. different categories like area of residence, urban, semi-urban, and rural. Education-wise, we can categorize the respondents like up to school level, UG level, PG level, and others like that. So we have predetermined categories or predetermined grouping. But here, since the independent variables are collected as a scale data, no predefined grouping is there. You may ask, sir, whether a predetermined grouping is appropriate or if the independent variables are collected as a scale data, which is correct, sir. There is no correct, incorrect. It is up to you based on the nature of your research, based on the nature of your respondents. You can collect the data in any form. If you have collected the independent variables like age, experience, income, these variables may be collected as a scale data. But gender cannot be collected as a scale data. It is always categorical. Education categorical. There we cannot do anything. So age can be collected as a scale data. Income can be collected as a scale data. Experience can be collected as a scale data. If you want to include different types of tests in your thesis, then you can collect this kind of mixture of independent variables. See, we are collecting demographic variables like gender, age, educational qualification, marital status, occupational status, experience, income, area of residence, nature of family, size of family, like that we are collecting. So if you are particular about applying the previous tests as well as this cluster analysis, there is no issue at all, right? There may be some myth. Some people may say that you have to apply either ANOVA, ANCOVA, MANCOVA, MANOVA, or cluster analysis only. Both should not be included in a single thesis. Some may be telling like that, but in fact, it is not like that. It depends upon the collection of data. Collection of data is based on the structure of questionnaire. Questionnaire is designed by you only. You design the questionnaire based on the previous literature. So if some literatures provide for this cluster analysis, then you can have the independent variables like age, experience, and income as scale data, and the other variables like gender, marital status, educational qualification, occupational status, they can be collected as categorical data. Right. So how the dependent variable is collected? For dependent variables, we are using the scale data for applying previous tests. If we are applying cluster analysis, it should be collected in categorical data. Sir, I am collecting data relating to perception. I have given 10 statements relating to perception. And all the 10 statements are given in a single table in the questionnaire. Data or responses are collected in a 5-point Likert scale. As you said, strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree. Okay. Sir, how can I say that whether it is categorical data or scale data? If you are taking up the statements one by one separately. One by one separately. It is a categorical data. I have given 10 statements now. First statement, separate analysis. Second statement, separate analysis. Third statement, separate analysis. Fourth statement, separate analysis, and so on. If you conduct separate analysis for each statement, then the data is said to be categorical data. Suppose, sir, I want to apply ANOVA, PANOVA, ANCOVA, and MANCOVA. So how can I convert it into scale data? We are assigning scores now, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You just sum up the scores assigned to all the 10 statements. See, for example, first statement, I would have ticked strongly agree. So 5 score. The score assigned to the first statement is 5. Second statement, I have ticked agree. So the score assigned to that statement is 4. Third statement, again, strongly agree. So 5. Fourth statement, neutral, 3. So 5 plus 4, 9. 9 plus 5, 14. Plus 3, 17. Like that, you add up or sum up the scores. It becomes scale data. But many statisticians suggest you can take the scores itself as a category, as a scale data. But it is not advisable to take the scores assigned as it is as a scale data. It is always better to sum up the scores assigned for all the statements together, and the total sum may be considered as scale data. Okay. So here, the major difference between the previous test and this test is independent variable is scale data, dependent variable is categorical data. That's all. If it is so, what should we do? That's all. So with this introduction, let us go to the problem. I told you about cluster analysis, grouping. No predetermined grouping is there. Here, the software itself groups the respondents. See, for example, my sample size is 400. My sample size is 400. Gender-wise, I have divided male and female. Some 220 male respondents are there. 180 female respondents are there. I am applying percentage analysis to provide the description of the demographic variable. Okay. So in that case, I know pretty well from the data collected that 220 female respondents and 180, 220 male respondents and 180 female respondents. Because it is predetermined. So while collecting the data itself, we collect whether that respondent is a male or female. But here, as I told you, these independent variables like age, experience, income, they are collected as a scale data. So based on the scale data, we cannot categorize the respondents. We cannot categorize the respondents. but the software itself categorizes the response. So the grouping is made by the software itself. That grouping is what called as cluster analysis. Each group is called cluster. So how many clusters are there? Gender, I told there are 2 groups. Marital status, 2 groups. Area of residence, 3 groups. Educational qualification, 4 groups. That we know because we have categorized. There is a predetermined categories. But here, the data is collected as scale data. So how many categories are there? Here, the terminology is cluster. How many clusters are there? We do not know. So here, the cluster analysis is divided into 2. Number 1, hierarchical cluster analysis. Number 2, k-means cluster. Hierarchical cluster and k-means cluster. If we do not know how many clusters are to be made, how many clusters are there, or how many clusters are to be made, we do not know. In that case, we have to go for hierarchical cluster analysis. If we know how many clusters are to be made, then we can go for k-means cluster. K means constant. K stands for constant, any number. So 2 clusters, 3 clusters, 4 clusters, 5 clusters, 6 clusters, and so on. Okay. Usually, as I told we don't categorize them. The cluster is not made by us. So we do not know how many clusters are there. So first, we have to go for hierarchical cluster. From that, we decide how many clusters are to be made. Then after having decided the number of clusters from the results of hierarchical cluster, we can apply k-means cluster. Then we can get the results. That's all. So whatever it is, we have to go for both hierarchical cluster and k-means cluster. First, we have to start with hierarchical cluster. Then we have to apply k-means cluster. From the hierarchical cluster, we can understand how many clusters are to be made. Having taken that number of clusters, we can go for k-means cluster. In that also, there may be the initial cluster at the start of the analysis. The output will contain initial cluster. But after iterations, so how many iterations are to be made? Generally, 10 iterations. What do you mean by iterations? So I told 400 respondents are there. If you see for example, only 5 respondents, we are clustering them. A and B one group, C and D one group, E separate group, or A, B, C one group, D and E one group, A, B, C, D one group, E separate group. Like that, the permutations and the combinations are there, no? That grouping, changing the groups, based on permutations and combinations is what called iterations. Changing the group A, B, and C, A, B, and D, like that we are changing. But 5 respondents itself, we have lot of permutations and combinations. 400 respondents means how to cluster them. And number of clusters is understood from the hierarchical cluster. So initial cluster, this is the cluster, 3 clusters, age, average experience, like that an output will be given. Then iterations will be made. Then final cluster will be given. So based on that, we will write the interpretation. That's all. So let me show the problem. Yes. Cluster analysis. Now we have collected the HR data. Attitude of employees towards job. Look at here. This questionnaire contains 5 questions. Age, completed years. So they have to, it is an open-ended question. Closed-ended questions means we will be giving some options or choices. But here, open-ended question. 32, 41, 53, 64, like that, they will be giving the data. And come to the experience. That is also given as completed years. So I have completed 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So both are collected as a scale data. Now we come to the attitude. The 3 questions. I love my job. I'm expert in my job. I am satisfied with my job. These 3 attitudes are collected. These are collected as a categorical 5-point Likert scale. Strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, strongly agree, for all these things. You know pretty well, my attitude may be influenced by my age or my experience. So what are the independent variables here? Age and experience are the independent variables. What are the dependent variables? The attitude questions. 3 questions, no. I love my job. I'm an expert in my job. I'm satisfied with my job. These are the 3 dependent variables. So here we have a combination of categorical data and the scale data. Unlike the previous test, here independent variables are collected as a scale data and dependent variables are collected as categorical data. That's all. Now we will go to the analysis. Look at here. The data are collected. Now we go to analyze. Go to classify. Go to classify. Then go to hierarchical cluster. Go to hierarchical cluster. First, we have to start with this one. Okay. Now we have a window like this. So here, variables. What are the variables? We have to take all the variables together. Both dependent and independent variables are to be taken. So age, work experience, I love my job, I am expert in my job, I am satisfied with my job. Okay, that's all. Now you go to the statistics. Here, look at this. First one, agglomeration schedule. So we have to derive a schedule. That schedule is called agglomeration schedule. It is selected in default. You don't need to change anything here. Cluster membership, range of solutions. No need to change anything. Only thing, agglomeration schedule, it is selected in default. So go to continue. Then if you go to plots, dendrogram is appearing. In some cases, it may be selected in default. If it is selected, you should unselect it. You should unselect it. Now we don't need the dendrogram. Then here, whether all clusters are to be selected, yes. Orientation, vertical, that's all. So here also, you don't need to change anything except if dendrogram is selected. For example, if it is selected, you unselect it. Then continue. Then method. Yes. Cluster method. In default, between groups linkage method is given. We have a lot of methods. Look at here. Within groups linkage, nearest neighbor, furthest near neighbor, then centroid clustering, median clustering, Watts method. In default, between groups linkage is selected. But we have to select the last one. That is, Watts method is to be selected. Then interval. Here also we have different types of intervals. Euclidean distance, squared Euclidean distance, cosine, Pearson's correlation, like that, we have a lot of intervals. Out of these, we have to select this one. Squared Euclidean distance method only is to be selected. So don't need to change anything. Then go to continue. That's all. Now you can click OK. Sorry, before that, you have to uncheck that plot. Once again, I repeat, go to Analyze, Classify, Hierarchical, Cluster. We have selected all the variables. Statistics, we are not doing anything. Plots, we are not doing anything. Method, we have changed the clustering method as Watts method. Interval, measure, Euclidean, standard Euclidean distance method. I mean squared Euclidean distance method. Then continue. Here, statistics, what is to be displayed? Statistics, okay, but plots unselect or untick it. That's all. Now click OK. Look at here. First one, summary. 300 cases are there. All are valid. 100% it is valid. What linkage method is used? Then squared Euclidean distance measure is used. See what linkage method. Look at here. This is the agglomeration schedule. How many cases are there? That is size. N is equal to 300. N is equal to 300. Here cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 1, cluster 2. Don't bother about it. Look at the stage. Number of stage. See here. There are 299 stages. Look at here. 299. 99 stages. So it is always the number of schedules or number of stages. We call it as stages. The number of stages is always n minus 1. N is 300. So number of stages is n minus 1. 300 minus 1, 299. Okay. Now, the other column we have to focus is this coefficient. This column is to be considered. For that, we go to the bottom of the table. What is the coefficient of this 299th stage? 299. N is 300. So number of stages is equal to n minus 1. Number of cases minus 1. Here, coefficient is 15,850.727. You go to the next stage or go to the above row. The number of stage, 298th stage. 299th stage, coefficient is 15,850. 298th stage, it is 7,525. What is the difference? Approximately 8,000, or else we can see in the form of calculator. $18,850. Leave the decimals minus 7.25. So 8,235. Okay. Similarly, you go to the previous one. 297th stage. Its coefficient is 5,684. Now, what is the difference between coefficients of 298th stage and 297th stage? 7,525 minus 5,684. It is 1,840. Earlier, 8,000 something. Now 1,841 something. Similarly, go to previous one. 296th. So 5,684 minus 4,448. 1,236. If you go further, 4,448 minus 3,744. Earlier, the differences were in thousands, 8,000, 1,500, 1,200, like that. Now it is reduced to hundreds. So the difference is higher or different goes up in the point of 296th stage. 296th stage. Okay. What does it mean? What is the number of stage? 299. So here From the 296th stage, that coefficient is reduced to a greater level when compared with the previous, the other stages. So here we take 299 and 296. 299 minus 296. 299 minus 296. It is 3. The answer is 3. That means number of clusters to be made is 3. That's all. So this result does not directly let you know number of clusters. Based on the difference between coefficients of one stage and its previous stage, we decide. That's why I'm telling from the beginning, we decide number of clusters. But this decision is to be made based on the results of this hierarchical cluster only. You cannot directly take it for granted. Here, based on the differences, we decide that 3 clusters are to be made. That's all. So, first step, hierarchical cluster, that is over. Now we go to the k-means cluster. So in every case, both are to be applied. Now you go to the analyze. Now look at the data once again. Look at the variables. See what is the last variable? Age, experience, love, expert, satisfaction. So in this data set, only 29 variables are there. Last variable is satisfaction. Okay. Now we go to analyze. Again, classify. Now you select k-means cluster. Okay. Now you find different window. Here also, we have to select all the variables. Data, experience, I love my job, I'm expert in my job, I'm satisfied with my job. You bring it here. That's all. Immediately, look at here, number of clusters, it is given in default as 2. We have to change it into 3 without forgetting. Now you go to iterate. Number of iterations, maximum iterations, 10, it is given in default. So you don't change it. Then continue. Come to save. What is to be saved here? There are 2 choices given. One is cluster membership. Another is distance. Distance is not required because we are going for squared Euclidean distance. But here we have to select the cluster membership. Then continue. Then options. See here, initial cluster centers is selected in default. If you want to add ANOVA, you can add it. Don't change it, or don't change the other options. Then continue. Once again, I repeat. Go to analyze. Go to classify. Go to k-means cluster. Select all the variables. drag it to the right hand side. You have to change the number of clusters into 3. Instead of 2, we have 3 clusters. Iterations maximum 10. Continue. Save cluster membership. Then continue. Options, initial cluster centers already selected. Additionally, if you prefer, you can select ANOVA table. Then continue. Now click OK. These are the results. Now look at here. First one, I told you no, initial cluster centers. We call it as the cluster profile as such. So what is initial cluster center? Number of clusters, I told you no, there are 3 clusters. What are the variables? Independent variables are collected in scale data, age and work experience. What is the output given in this table? For age, you see in cluster 1 it is 22, cluster 2 it is 34, cluster 3 it is 45. What do you mean by that? This is the average age of the respondents in cluster 1, cluster 2 and cluster 3. So the average age of respondents in cluster 1 is 22 years. In cluster 2, it is 34 years. In cluster 3, it is 45 years. Similarly, work experience. Cluster 1, 11. I'm sorry, here 11. Cluster 2, 1. Cluster 3, 11. It is initial only. Similarly, here it is categorical data only, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anyhow, the output is given. Now you come to the iteration history. I told you no, 5 iterations have been made. So changing in cluster centers, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, this is to be changed to or transferred to cluster 1, from cluster 1 to cluster 2, or cluster 1 to cluster 3, or cluster 1, 2 to 3, or 3 to 1, 3 to 2, or 2 to 1. Anyhow, some rotations are made. That is called iterations. So 5 iterations. Maximum permitted iterations 10. Here 5 iterations have only been made. Now look at the final cluster centers. Look at here, average age 25. Earlier it was 22. But now the final result says that average age of the cluster 1 members is 25. Cluster 2 members, it is 33. Cluster 3 members, it is 42. From this, we can understand age-wise, younger members are categorized in the first cluster. Middle-aged members are categorized in the cluster center. Elder members are categorized in the third cluster. Look at the work experience. Average age of cluster 1, 6, cluster 2, 5, cluster 3, 4. So it is entirely opposite. Senior employees are categorized or grouped in first cluster. Junior most employees are categorized in cluster 3. Middle level experienced employees are categorized in cluster 2. You may be asking, sir, how is it possible, sir? Younger, young old employees, how can they get higher experience, sir? This is just to show the result may be anything like this, because we are not categorizing. So first cluster, second cluster, third cluster, based on age, based on our experience. So that may be, then I love my job, 333. Expert in my job, 223. Then again, I'm satisfied with my job, 222. Okay. Now, what do we understand from this? Look at here. ANOVA table is there. Age. Look at the p-value. 0.000. We have collected the data relating to age, experience, and attitude towards job. For that, we have given 3 statements. I love my job, I am expert in my job, I am satisfied with my job. The p-value says that there is a significant difference between or among the clusters, cluster 1, cluster 2, and cluster 3, based on age, because p-value is less than 0.01. So it is significant at 1%. There is a significant difference among the age of the respondents in 3 clusters. Work experience, p-value 0.000. Here also, the p-value is less than 0.01. That means the experience of employees in 3 clusters is significantly different, since the p-value is less than 0.01. Then, attitude towards loving of job. The p-value is 0.025. 0.025. It is less than 0.05. So it is significant at 5% level. So the attitude of the employees towards loving the job is different according to the clusters. In 3 clusters, their attitude is different significantly. Attitude towards expertise in the job. P-value is 0.027. It is less than 0.05. So it is significant at 5% level. So the attitude of employees towards expertise in their job is different in 3 clusters, significantly at 5%. Whereas the p-value of the next one is 0.078. It is greater than 0.05. So satisfaction of employees in 3 clusters is not significantly different. That means the employees in 3 clusters are having similar level of satisfaction. Maybe somehow it is different. That difference is not significant. This is what we can understand from this cluster analysis. It is not over. Some more steps are there. Look at this. Cluster membership in each cluster, number of cases. In cluster 1, 160 members, 160 employees. Cluster 2, 110 employees. Cluster 3, 30 employees. So how you divided? It is left to the software. We have not divided. I told you, 220 male, 180 female. That was divided based on the data collected. But here, we did not have any predetermined categorization. It is clustered by the software only. So we do not know how many respondents are there in each cluster. It is displayed now. Look at this. 160 respondents are employees in cluster 1. 110 employees are there in cluster 2. And 30 employees only are there in cluster 3. That's all. Okay. Before going for the output, I showed you again and again, look at how many variables are there, how many variables are there. What is the last variable? Now look at the last variable. One more variable is added, no? QCL1. Earlier, there were only 29 variables. Now, cluster number is added automatically. It is categorical or nominal. Why it is entered here? We have ticked save membership, cluster membership. No, that one has created this variable. That one has created this variable. So for that purpose only, while performing the analysis, see, analyze, classify to k-means cluster, and in the save, we ticked the cluster membership. That is why now one more variable is added. That is cluster number. What is cluster number? 1, 2, 3. That's all. Cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3. Now you can perform ANOVA. You can perform ANOVA. One-way ANOVA separately. See, for example, age and work experience. You can take all the variables also. That cluster member is the factor now. That cluster member is the factor now. In the previous output, we find that age significant, work experience significant, I love my job significant, I am expert in my job significant, I'm satisfied with my job, not significant. Now we are going for ANOVA. While going for ANOVA, now we know already. That is why this ANOVA was done. We know what are the significant results. If the results are significant, we can go for post hoc test. We can go for post hoc test. In the post hoc test, we have a lot of methods. While applying cluster analysis, it is always suggested to go for Tukey. Go for Tukey test. That is the equal variance assumption. Now, you see, the significance level is always 0.05. Then you can continue. Options already there, no need to change anything. Okay, leave it. Then click OK. Now you look at different results. This result is same as what we have got in the previous ANOVA. Look at here, p-value 0.00, here also 0.00, 0.00, and then 0.025, here also 0.025, 0.027, here also 0.027, 0.078, 0.078. Now this is the Tukey test, post-hoc test, Tukey HSD, multiple comparisons. This is what important. Look at here. Age-wise, how many clusters are there? 3 clusters are there. Cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3. Now each cluster is compared with the other 2 clusters. Look at here. Now first cluster is compared with second cluster and third cluster. See here, what is the p-value? 0.000. That means earlier this result said there is a significant difference in the age of 3 clusters. Here, a comparison is made. Comparison is made between clusters. Cluster 1 and cluster 2 is significant. Cluster 1 and cluster 3 different, significantly different, because p-value is 0.000. It is less than 0.01. That is, age of the members in cluster 1 and age of the members in cluster 2 are compared. We find that there is a significant difference in the age of the members in cluster 1 and cluster 2. Similarly, we compare cluster 1 and cluster 3. For that also, we get p-value 0.000. It is less than 0.01. So that is also significantly different. Similarly, we check 2 and 1, then 2 and 3. I told you, the combinations 1 and 2, 1 and 3. Again, 2 and 1, 2 and 3, 3 and 1, 3 and 2. So this kind of comparison is made between clusters. So now 2 and 1, p-value 0.000. It is also significant. 2 and 3, 0.000. It is significant at 1%. Then we go for third cluster. So third and first, 0.000, significant. 3 and 2, again 0.000, significant. Come to work experience. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Look at here. And 2 experience 0.130, greater than 0.05. So no significant difference in the work experience of cluster 1 and cluster 2. But when we compare cluster 1 and cluster 3, look at here, 0.000. So there is a significant difference. Similarly, work experience between 2 and 1, it is 0.130, greater than 0.05, so not significant. Here it is, I mean, sorry. Point 008, less than 0.01, so significant. Similarly, work experience, 3 and 1, 0.000, significant. 3 and 2, 0.008, not significant. Then come to I love my job. 1 and 2, 0.027, significant. 1 and 3, 0.296, not significant. 2 and 1, 0.027, significant. 2 and 3, 0.992, not significant. Come to 3 and 1, 0.296, not significant. 3 and 2, 0.992, significant. I'm sorry, not significant, because it is greater than 0.05. Similarly, come to I'm expert in my job. 1 and 2, 0.581, not significant. 1 and 3, 0.021, significant at 5% level. Then 2 and 1, 0.581, not significant. 2 and 3, 0.117, not significant. 3 and 1, 0.021, significant at 5%. 3 and 2, 0.117, not significant. Then I am satisfied with my job. Look at here, all are not significant. 1 and 2, not significant. 1 and 3, not significant. 1 and 3, not significant. 2 and 1, not significant. 2 and 3, not significant. 3 and 1, not significant. 3 and 2, not significant. That's why I told you no. Post hoc test may be applied when the result is significant. For the I love my job, I'm satisfied with my job, the result is not significant. So applying the post hoc test has no impact or is of no use for this variable. So up to the fourth variable itself, we can complete. Okay, right. Now we'll go for other outputs. Now homogeneous subsets. What is homogeneous? Having same characteristics. Heterogeneous means different characteristics. Homogeneous subsets. See, 1 and 1. When cluster 1 and the cluster 2 is compared, 160 members are there. The alpha value, subset of alpha, we have taken 0.05. But here, look at the average age, 24.50. Then for 2 and 2, it is 33.27. For 3 and 3, 41.67. Look at here. This table uses harmonic mean sample size. Usually we take the arithmetic mean. But in this case, we have taken the Tukey method. That Tukey method is using the harmonic. Then the group sizes are unequal, that we know. Group size is 160, 140, and 30. So harmonic mean of the group sizes is used. So this is the harmonic mean of the group size. So type 1 error levels are not guaranteed. So we don't go for type 1 error. That is not required. Similarly for work experience. Look at here, only 2 subsets are there. Earlier 3 subsets. Now only 2 subsets are there. So 3 and 1, then 2 and 2, 2 1 and 2. That's all. So here, in this case, the comparison is made between 1 and 2, 2 and 2, then 3 and 1. Others are eliminated. Others are eliminated. Similarly, in the I love my job, here only one subset is there. So 3 and 1, 2 and 1, 3 and 1, 1 and 1. Here again two subsets. 1 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 2. I am satisfied with my job, only one subset. 2 and 1, 3 and 1, 1 and 1. It is given in the order of the alpha value. Okay, that's all. So what do we understand from this? Whether the groups are homogeneous or not. What is the measure of homogeneity of the subsets? When we compare, see the comparison, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, like that we can compare. Or 2 and 1, 3 and 2, 3 and 1, we can compare. But the comparison itself is restricted here. While comparing the ages, all the comparisons are made. 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 1. Work experience, 3 and 1, 2 and 2, 1 and 2. So this comparison is made by the tool itself. These are the homogeneous subsets measurements. So from this, we need not describe anything more. We can leave it with this itself. That is enough. So whether there is a significant difference in this or not, like that only we need to do. Otherwise, we need not go further. That's all. So this is about the k-means cluster. So first of all, we have to go for hierarchical cluster. From that, we decide how many clusters are to be made. Then we go for the number of clusters. If number of clusters is known, we can go for k-means cluster test. Then we can apply that. So once again, I repeat the steps. First, go to analyze, classify, then hierarchical cluster. Here we bring all the variables together. Then statistics, agglomeration schedule, continue. Then plots are deselected. Then click OK. We get the agglomeration schedule like this. So from this agglomeration schedule, we compare the differences in the coefficients, and based on that, we decide the number of clusters. So 3 clusters are made. Okay. So based on 3 clusters, we go for additional analysis, that is k-means cluster. So go for analyze, classify, k-means cluster. First of all, we go for cluster analysis. So we select all the clusters here, iteration, 10 iterations. Okay. Then club membership is saved. Then options, the initial cluster center and ANOVA is taken. The method, as we already discussed, what method we have to select. The Watts method is to be selected, and the Euclidean distance, squared Euclidean distance method is to be selected. That's all. From that, we can collect the, we can get the output. After getting the output, we go for ANOVA, one-way ANOVA as usual. One-way ANOVA, the dependent variable, all are now dependent variables. Both the independent variables and dependent variables in the original analysis, all are now considered as dependent variables. the cluster number only is the independent variable. So as usual, we go for one-way ANOVA except the post-hoc test. Post-hoc test, we go for Tukey. Then we go for continue, we get the results. That's all. So this is what cluster analysis. So with this, we can conclude the analytical part. Now, let me wholeheartedly thank all the participants for your patient listening for the past 5 days. Today also, we have discussed about one more important tool, that is cluster analysis. You see, it is not used by many scholars because of lack of awareness. Lot of testing is made in this cluster analysis, comparison group-wise, cluster-wise. The group is not made as predetermined. It is based on the data available. The data is collected as scale data for the independent variables, and for the dependent variable, the data is collected in the form of categorical. So I wholeheartedly thank Dr. Shekhar and his team for the wonderful opportunity given to me. Again and again, I am thanking my dear friends for your patient listening. If I have given you good explanations, the credit goes to my gurus, my teachers, my asans. If I am unable to explain you up to your understanding, I accept that it is my mistake. So my humble pranams to my teachers. Thank you, my gurus, right from the first standard to the PhD level. Thank you. Now let me share the data, the table provided by Kannan sir. How much effort he has made. Yes. See here, test to be, test used to compare the means of two or more groups. First one, independent variable, categorical, two groups only one variable, no covariate variable, dependent variable, only one variable that is collected in deep, scale data. So in that case, we have to apply independent samples t-test. Then independent variables, two groups only, pre and post, categorical data, only one variable, scale data, paired samples t-test. Then categorical, more than 2 groups, 1 variable, no covariate, 1 variable scale data, one-way ANOVA. Then categorical, more than 2 groups, 2 variables, then scale data, 1 variable, 2-way ANOVA. Then categorical, more than 2 groups, 1 variable. Now 1 covariate variable, 1 dependent variable, both are scale data. It is in that we use UNCOVA, one-way UNCOVA. Then more than 2 groups, 2 or more variables, then one or more covariate variable, scale data, 1 dependent variable, 2-way UNCOVA. Then categorical, more than 2 groups, 1 variable, no covariate variable, 2 variables, scale data, 1-way MANOVA, right? Then 2-way MANOVA, categorical, 2 variables, more than 2 groups, dependent variable, scale data, 2 or more variables. We have to apply 2-way MANOVA. Then 1-way MANCOVA, categorical variables, more than 2 groups, only 1 variable, 1 covariate variable, and that is given in scale data, then 2 or more variables, dependent variables, scale data, 1-way MANCOVA. Then 2-way MANCOVA, categorical variables, more than 2 groups, 2 variables, 2 or more independent variables, categorical variable, 1 or more scale data, then 2 or more dependent variables, scale data. Excellently, you have compiled this table process. I will share in the group so that all the participants may be benefited by this excellent compilation. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you, Professor. Now, if
Okay,
there
sir.
is
Tell me,
any
sir.
clarification, now we can go for clarification.
Thank you,
Sir, please
Professor.
wait, sir.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
As usual, you have done wonderfully manner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Professor, I have a doubt. Really, I'm Kannan again.
Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing my the notes that I have sent to you. It shows
Thank you.
your magnanimity that somebody has prepared, but we are making use of it, and you are willing to share with the other members of the group. Thank you so much. I
Thank
thought
you.
Suddenly you have taken a lot of efforts along with Dr. Shekhar, and I thought something has to be done from our side as a participant, and
Yes.
I have made an attempt. I'm also thinking of doing some other thing also. If I do something, I'll share with you in our group, sir.
Sure, sir. Sure.
So with regard to the doubt that I have for today's session, I understand there are 299 what call stages.
Yes.
Then how you have fixed to only 3? You said 299 minus 298, 298 minus 297, then
Yes,
297 minus 296. How did you stop? Where did you stop?
Where did we stop? That slope increases. The slope goes up. When we draw the graph, we can understand easily.
Okay.
But the difference is difference between last one and last but one is high. Then 298 and 297 is also in thousands.
Correct.
297 and 296 is also in thousands. But it is suddenly reduced to hundreds.
Okay.
So that is a point where we have to determine the number of clusters.
It is something like when I was doing my pre-university course in the chemistry lab, when hydrochloric acid is included in potassium permanganate, they'll say they change the color. Then you used to talk something, suddenly the color will be changed. Something like that you are telling. We'll try our level best. Thank you, Professor. As usual, you have rocked it, and God bless you. Yesterday, one lady was telling that God should give a lot of health and wealth for you. We also pray for you. Happy New Year, Professor. God bless you as well as the team, Dr. Shekhar and team. Thank you. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskaram, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Cooperation, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, one more doubt.
Yes, Professor.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, cluster, you make it as a three clusters.
Yes, sir.
What is the final? Based on that, further we need to do the analysis. What is the use of that cluster?
See, the predetermined groups, we understand that these independent variables, whether significantly influence the dependent variable or not, we have understood. But here, no predetermined group, because independent variables are collected as scale data, right? So if this is collected in scale data, how can we group the members or employees in this case? We do not know. For that, we go for cluster analysis. So here, in the cluster analysis, you see how many comparisons are there. First, age, cluster 1 versus cluster 2. Whether there is any significant difference in the age of the members in the cluster 1 and the cluster 2. Like that, we have tested. Then cluster 1 and 3, cluster 2 and 1, cluster 2 and 3. Like that, lot of comparisons in the final result we have seen. No, that that is available.
Okay.
Then that impact of or influence of these independent variables on dependent variables, that is shown in the ANOVA table itself. Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
excellent presentation. I just have a small question. That
Yes,
is
sir.
regarding the clusters. Now, suppose we make 5 clusters forcibly in the options, then will the results be thrown in a disarray, or there will be some semblance in the output?
Sir, in fact, as our Kannan sir asked, how did you determine 299 minus 296, like that? If we draw the script plot chart, then we can understand the slope, where it goes up, where that slope turns above.
Okay.
The slope is like this only, gradually going, then suddenly it goes up. So in the x-axis, you take the stages, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. In the way, it can be done either with the Excel or with the SPSS itself. We can draw the chart as you should. There is no difficulty in that. And y-axis, the coefficients, that's all. If you draw the graph, it will be look like this. Then suddenly the slope goes up. So at which point the slope goes up or turns above, that point is to be taken. Normally it will be 3, 4, or 5, because in the ending stage only it will be increasing. Initially, if you look at the output, you can see 0.000, 0.000, see 300 cases we have taken. So first stage 0.3000, 0.0, up to some 20 or 30 cases, or some 50 stages, that result will be same. But later only it increases gradually. Then in the extreme stages, like after 250, 291, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, it turns above. So it increases suddenly. So based on that only we decide. So
my reasonable doubt is that the software has got so much of capabilities that this particular part of it, why is it left for the decision for the user to give the number of clusters? Can the system not determine on itself and say that 3 clusters have to be created?
That's what I'm telling you. You asked me whether suppose for 3 clusters, I have chosen 4 clusters or 5 clusters. Will it make any difference? No, sir. So if you go for 4 clusters, you will be having 4 comparisons. 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, like that. So one more comparison will be made. That's all. But
That's
no
all. Okay.
maximum, no major difference in the results, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. It's been excellent interacting with you. It's been a wonderful session, absolutely wonderful, because for me, it's the first time exposure to SPSS. I never had seen this software and getting the exposure first time. And because I'm from the industry and taking up this course at a much later stage in life. So it's really wonderful interacting with you.
In which place you are?
I'm in Bangalore, and currently I'm attending your classes, though the time difference is there. I'm in Germany right now. So Germany, I'm attending all your classes.
Oh, you are in German. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, Kumaresan sir. I'm Padma again.
Good evening, madam.
Sir, a small suggestion for you, sir. Next time when you are conducting, please include these topics in your workshop, sir. One is a log regression, where I want to use the new techniques as a researcher. Every time I'm using only factor analysis, one way ANOVA, t-test and all. I'm not satisfied. How many papers I can write with those tests only. So I want to write with the new tests and all. So log regression, discriminant analysis, concurrence analysis, and the structural equation modeling using that confirmatory factor analysis, mediation and moderation. Please include those topics. And now this time I understand. First time I'm listening the title Ankova, Mankova and all. I understood. I can try for that. One more small thing, sir. Like normally, whenever we conduct the test, like hypothesis, whenever I'm making the impact of demographic variables on so and so on job satisfaction, I'm doing individually, like age groups and job satisfaction, or experience and experience groups and job satisfaction, like that. So instead of that, I can use this Ankova and all at a
we are
time.
combining. We are combining.
Compiling, and it will be much more detailed in which group of age is having I can say job satisfaction better. I can in detail, I can explain not only with means, I can explain in detail with the coefficients. That's what I understood, sir, with that. I am really, I can say I can use these things with the basic level of SPS I know. So I want to improve in the area of SPSS, much more use and that. Concurrence also I have heard in one workshop only, though it is more related to the marketing research and all, but I want to not get the confidence of using SPSS in that. And I searched in YouTube also, I didn't find much information on that. So I request you to add these topics in your next workshop, and it will be much useful for the researchers like me.
Definitely, madam. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Professor, wish you a happy new year.
Happy New Year,
thank you,
sir.
Professor.
And Professor, you add, will it be possible to factor and factorial analysis?
Yes, sure.
Okay. That madam has told so many marketing, regarding marketing aspects that will be used. But you include that factor and factorial analysis also.
Sure, Professor. Sure.
Sir, can I get your number, sir?
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Professor.
Yes. My number is 98426 02131. 98426.
Sorry, sir. Repeat, sir, please, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, yeah, Professor has provided in the chat box itself.
Yeah.
Please go through chat box. He has presented in the chat box.
Good evening, friends. Those who want Dr. Kumaresan sir number, please contact me personally. I will share you his details. Hope you know this is Dr. S. Shekhar, founder and managing trustee of Star International Foundation for Research and Education, Tamil Nadu. We have started research and publication service in the name of SR Insta Group and Research Academy in 2020. After 2 years, we have changed our organization name in Star International Foundation for Research and Education in 2022. In the same year, it was registered under Indian Trust Act, and we got ISO certificate under 12 AA and 80G approved also. We are doing many more services for the past 4 years, like journal publication, book chapter publication, patent publication, and selling academic software like Turnitin software, Quillbot, Grammarly, and so. And we have organized seminar and workshop and conference, etc. Around 5,000 plus members were benefited our SIFRE services for the past 4 years. We are running 2 peer-reviewed journal in the name of Star Research Journal and International Journal of Recent Research and Applied Studies. We have supported 4 international edited book publication and 2 national edited book publication for the past few years. And as of now, 150 patents were filed and published via Star International Foundation. As of now, we have organized 1 international conference come award ceremony and 6 webinar and workshop in our foundation, out of which 3 has been free of cost, and out of 3 programs, 2 has Dr. Kumaresan sir is the resource person. The one and only the reason is he is a very talented person and senior most faculty. He has worked in many colleges as a faculty member, principal, and director also. He has trained many colleges in different states in India. Over 300 programs he has trained. I hardly told you one thing, Dr. Kumaresan sir is one of my guru, because when I struggle in my PhD research, he has helped me a lot and lots of support to completion of my thesis submission. And our foundation goal is to provide a platform for researcher, academician, professionals, and students to exchange knowledge and explore recent developments in all fields. I'm really happy to share one thing. In our 5 days online workshop, there are 5,000 plus members were registered in this program. This is an unbelievable success. And finally, I told you one thing, dear participants, the feedback link will be provided in YouTube comment box as well as Zoom meeting chat box now. So we request everyone to fill the form and get your e-certificate in your mail. But the condition is every day e-certificate will be sent to 800 members only. Once reached the 800 members limit, then you cannot get your certificate today. If you are not able to get your certificate today, then you please fill the feedback form on tomorrow. Again, if you are not getting your certificate, then try on the day after tomorrow. We cannot provide any manual certificate to anyone. Please note this point and don't ask again and again related to your certificate issue. Feedback form will be available in YouTube comment box up to 10 days. So don't worry about your certificate. We will assure you 100% to get your certificate within 10 days. But don't forget to subscribe our channel and fill out the feedback form. Once again, thanks to everyone who participated in our 5 days online workshop in SPSS research in a grand success. Thank you.
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
Wish you happy New Year, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
Professor Segar?
Being inspired.
Wish you happy New Year. You tell.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, you tell all the participants also.
Session say, Dr. Manavalan sir has joined our group, our research foundation. He was very particular. I have to join in your group this year itself. So this morning he received the membership form and immediately he has paid the membership fee, sent all the documents today itself, and he wanted to join with us today itself.
No, Mr. Sagar has, I have disturbed Sagar, Professor Sagar, but he has helped a lot.
Sorry for the disturbance.
Yes,
sir. Feedback link is be not accepting, sir. Feedback link is not accepting.
Sir, don't worry, sir. We will check and update you, sir. You please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, actually, the problem is.
If you are not able to fill the form here in the chat box, it will be sent to our WhatsApp group. You can fill it later also.
So somewhat disturbance.
Okay, let us finish it.
Sir, actually the problem is there are 5,000 plus members are registered, sir. But
very good.
Only around 2,000 members only participated either in Zoom meeting or as well as YouTube. So we cannot. If I shared in WhatsApp group, all peoples are get the certificate.
Okay, sure.
So for the purpose, we have shared in YouTube comment box, sir.
Oh, super.
Hello.
That is the reason.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah, I'm Praveen Samant from Goa, sir.
Sir, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your valuable inputs from different tests you have given. And beside this, thank you for Shekhar sir. He's behind the curtain. We have not seen him on the this one. So kindly requesting the Shekhar sir to come on the screen also to see whether.
Video on பண்ணுங்க. கிட்ட வாங்க. Okay. Sir, Praveen sir.
Yeah.
You can see Dr. Shekhar.
Thank you, Shekhar sir.
Thank you, all of you.
Yeah, Happy New Year, sir. Thank you very much.
I wish you all very, very happy and prosperous New Year 2024. Let us learn more in the coming year.
Thank you.
Workshops to be conducted. We have planned both online and offline. Online, we are organizing. Offline, if you want to conduct any workshop in your institution, we solicit your proposals. We will come directly to your institution and we will conduct it with more efficacy, with more effectiveness. We will conduct in the offline. If you have any such proposal, you can let us know. You can either contact Dr. Shekhar or contact me. Our numbers are there already for you, and my email ID is also given. You can contact us in any mode. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Thank you, participants. Happy New Year.
Thank you, all of you, once again. Good night. Take care. Let it be a good year.
Thank you, sir. Shall we wind up now?
Ah.
Okay, sir.